I mean, that's wrong, man. I mean, that's just like torturing someone. Yeah, I mean, going in there and hurting someone is just not fair on Davis.
Jake Paul, Tank Davis.
I got Tank by murder.
Side don't matter?
Hell no.
And people, it's funny how now they're saying size matters, Jake is big, when for so long it's been Tank would kill Jake Paul. And now you get to see if that's real.
Boxing pros predict Gervonta Davis will come out on top against Jake Paul. Many believe Davis's unmatched skill and experience give him the clear edge, with expectations that he'll dominate. Paulie Malignaggi stressed that Jake's size advantage won't matter when facing Davis, whose career is built on years of elite victories and dominance. He reminded fans that Davis's legacy shouldn't be underestimated. His achievements have defined boxing at the highest level and continue to set the standard for greatness.
I think Davis is more to lose because he's the bona fide world champion. I don't care if he's much smaller. I think Jake Paul has sort of plateaued as far as where his boxing is concerned. It's rather low level. Yeah. He's big, he's physical, he's strong, he can hit. So there is that risk. Davis, at lightweight, you're in a moment where it's too physical for you. You can clinch. Against the heavyweight, where you clinching? You ain't getting out of that corner just clinching anymore if you run out of space. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. But Davis, listen, there's a lot of talking points that I'm sure we'll get into when this gets closer to the fight. Davis can still punch at lightweight, can drop a heavyweight. There's a lot to gain there, right? If Davis knocks
the answer is yes.
If Davis drops Jake on his ass, as much as Davis is the one with more to lose, it's still a highlight moment.
A visual that will stay forever.
Yeah, but if you get dropped, even if you're smaller, you're still a world champion in multiple weight classes. If you get dropped, what's the look? What's the feel? On the inside, as boxers, me and Chris Algieri, the champ, even you, Jimmy, you have fight experience, so we know that the risk is a big guy that big hits you. You're probably going down if you're a small guy, if he hits you clean. So we know the risk, but how does it look to the public eye who don't understand that? You know what I mean? The public. So there is a lot to lose, though. There's a bit to gain. I wouldn't necessarily have an issue with this had Davis's career arc been one that benefited boxing. Davis was manufactured and put into a position where he's supposed to benefit boxing, and I don't think he has. I think he's hurt boxing. So by giving him this reward, that's my problem. Why are we watching this? Why don't you make him earn his spot that he still hasn't earned, mind you?
Nakisa Baydarian, co-founder of Most Valuable Promotions and a key architect of Jake Paul's boxing career, has made bold statements ahead of the official Gervonta Davis versus Jake Paul showdown. He dismissed the idea that Jake's size advantage would matter against a fighter like Davis, emphasizing that skill, speed, and power always outweigh size, and Davis has all three at the highest level. Nakisa also revealed this matchup wasn't an impulsive move. It has been in the works since Jake's planned fight with Canelo Alvarez fell through, showing how both camps have been carefully plotting mega fights that balance spectacle and legacy. While some critics argue Jake's physicality could overwhelm a smaller opponent, Nakisa firmly rejects that narrative, doubling down on his belief that Davis is simply too complete, too dangerous, and too experienced for size alone to matter.
I got to ask you about the elephant in the room. What weight, Nakisa, what weight could they possibly be fighting at? The news broke, Jake and Tank are going to happen November 14th.
Whatever weight they want, man, they're talking about it, and whatever it is, it's going to be a definitive outcome. People can talk about pro, exhibition. We're going to make sure this is as real as it's real.
Why was it, just out of curiosity, why is it not a professional bout and why is it an exhibition? Because I'm sure Jake would have taken the professional bout.
Nothing's been communicated as yet in terms of what it is, right? Similar to, if you remember, with Paul Tyson, when we announced it, we didn't have the weight, we didn't have the rules, particularly in terms of the number of rounds, the minutes, the gloves. It's going to be the same thing here.
Gotcha. Can you just offer us any insight as to how these negotiations went? The reason I ask is because I remember back in March, I was at Tank's fight, and after his fight in his press conference, he was asked, next opponent. He said, well, my next opponent might have been in my locker room tonight. And people asked him, was it Jake? He made reference, he made allusion to. Has this been an ongoing thing? And has it ever, been at a point where it wasn't going to happen and came back? Or was this always the plan?
Always been the plan for Jake to fight Tank once Canelo didn't happen. And to Tank's credit, he's a real bad dude, and he's been calling out Jake for 3 years. And people, it's funny how now they're saying size matters, Jake is big, when for so long it's been Tank would kill Jake Paul. Now you get to see if that's real. Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Gotcha. Knockout?
One of them.
The elephant in the room. What do you know about how this came to be? And then if you can, do you have any idea on what the weight is going to be between Jake Paul and Tank Davis, which was just announced?
Well, considering that I'm one of the guys on the team, you know, we always like to allow everyone in front to be able to release the information as they please.
Veteran trainer Jeff Mayweather has broken away from the majority opinion by siding with Jake Paul in the upcoming showdown. Unlike those who see Davis's skill as the deciding factor, Jeff points to weight and size as the real X factors. Paul, who has fought most of his professional bouts at cruiserweight, enters the ring with natural size, reach, and punching power that can't be ignored. Meanwhile, Gervonta Davis is moving up significantly in weight for this fight, raising legitimate questions about how his frame and power will carry against a naturally bigger opponent. Jeff's prediction highlights a key debate among analysts. Will Davis's world-class skill and explosiveness override the size gap, or will Jake's physical advantages prove too much to handle?
We have weight classes for a reason. And I mean, even as good as Tank is.
It'd be similar to Logan and Floyd, right? If it's an exhibition.
No,
Well, I mean, the weight differences.
The weight difference is way more. Jake is over 200 pounds.
Logan was around 200 pounds.
Yeah,
Who wins the fight, man? We ain't talking. Who wins if they have it? Come on now, answer the question.
I mean, to be honest, I would think Jake know how to fight a little bit. I think he should win. He's beating the man that's 135 pounds. He should be able to win.
Gervonta Davis has poured gasoline on the fire by posting the official promotional video for the fight on Instagram. Fans who expected a rematch with Lamont Roach were stunned. Many believed Davis would cement his legacy by settling unfinished business. Instead, he chose the spectacle, embracing Jake Paul on a massive global stage. By sharing the promo, Davis made one thing clear. Boxing isn't just about legacy fights. It's also about entertainment, marketability, and expanding the sport's audience. Purists may cry foul, but Davis seems unfazed. In his eyes, Jake Paul isn't just another opponent. He's the key to creating one of the most watched events of the year.
They're trying to fight up. They were trying or still trying to find a common medium, which is 175, so the fight can officially be sanctioned as a real boxing match. But there's no boxing commission that will sanction it because the weight is just too far apart. And Jake Paul has proven to be a true boxer now, okay? So it's considered an exhibition, which what I'm being told is going to be 10 2-minute rounds. But they wanted Jake Paul to make 175 so this can be a real boxing match and count against their record and box rec. But the fans are demanding to see him fight Lamont Roach. As I told you guys, Tank told you that he wasn't fighting Lamont Roach in the rematch. He had other plans, which is Jake Paul. He told you that in the post-fight press conference after the Lamont Roach fight, right? So with that said, that fell through at the time, and he revisited and entertained the idea of fighting Lamont Roach in the rematch. But he never signed the contract. They were supposed to fight June 21st. He never signed the contract. Then they were supposed to fight August 16th. He never signed the contract. And then he had the arrest. He had to get bailed out, so on and so forth. With that said, now he's broke his silence. He resurfaced on social media because he went ghost on social media. And he put up this promo, and the fans are responding in a negative way. And he's responding in a negative way. He's responding right back with the same energy. And he's telling the fans, because the fans are saying, hey, the money that you reportedly making, which is being said that he's going to make $40 million for this fight, according to multiple sources and Eddie Hearn and a few other people, he's supposed to make guaranteed purse of $40 million.
Matchroom's Frank Smith revealed that Gervonta Davis had originally been lined up for a rematch with Lamont Roach, a fight many felt would further cement his legacy. But when the Jake Paul opportunity surfaced, everything changed. According to Smith, the financial upside and international spotlight tied to Paul were simply too big to pass up. This move reflects the current reality of boxing. Fighters today must weigh legacy against commercial value. Smith didn't outright criticize the decision, but his comments underscored how priorities are shifting. In the modern game, crossover spectacles often outweigh traditional matchups. For Davis, facing Jake Paul isn't just a test of skill, it's a strategic play to tap into a global audience far beyond hardcore boxing fans.
And let's say you take money out of the equation, which is obviously the main factor here, but like he's in a division where he's got killers all in his division. You know, Shakur, Haney, who's 147. You know, you look at Tio, for example, Keyshawn, and then you choose to fight someone like Paul. Surely that's a concern when you do look at it like that.
Yeah, but again, it's the world we're in. If you can get a huge amount of money to fight someone who's never boxed really before, you're going to do it. You know. Floyd Mayweather boxed Logan Paul with a huge weight disparity.
He was done by then. He was done. Like, this is an active world champion.
But it's the world we're in.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. You know, when it comes down to it. It's just like Conor McGregor fighting Floyd Mayweather. Two completely different sports. Was the biggest pay-per-view in recent times, wasn't it? Maybe if ever.
Those are like different comparisons, though, if you think about it. Do you not like...
Yeah, but the sport's in a wild place, isn't it? That's just, like, I'm just like the reality of where we are, you know. And I can't really say much when we're talking about Jake Paul fighting Anthony Joshua at the same time. You know?
Do you think Tank should get stripped of his title?
Yeah, I think anyone who, just in general, doesn't defend their title to do something else should get stripped, because it shouldn't hold the belts up. You know, in any, like, I think that should be the reality in anything. You know, if you're not going to defend your belts, or you're not defending, sometimes there's the rules. Obviously, if you fight for a belt at a higher weight, you can retain the belt until there. But if you're not, don't have intention of defending the belts, you shouldn't hold the belts up. People should get the opportunity to fight for them.
What happened with the failed negotiations between AJ and Jake Paul?
I think anything's still possible. That was always discussed for next year. You know, this fight's November, early part of next year. AJ's in a great place, because if anyone in the heavyweight division wants to make huge money, Anthony Joshua is the man they have to get in there with, you know.
An analyst pushed back against the wave of criticism aimed at Gervonta Davis for taking the Jake Paul fight. He argued that fans often look for reasons to troll fighters instead of appreciating their careers. Davis has spent years grinding, building his name through discipline, skill, and highlight reel knockouts. If he now chooses to cash in on a spectacle fight, what's wrong with that? This perspective reflects a growing frustration in the boxing world. Too often, lifelong fighters get overshadowed by crossover stars like Jake Paul, who critics say bypass the traditional path. By stepping into the ring with Paul, Davis isn't just securing a career-high payday. He's also putting himself in position to silence doubters and prove he can thrive under the brightest spotlight.
Casual, but what about the hardcore boxing fans? Won't we stand up and put some value on fighters that dare to be great, that respect the sport of boxing and not just the business of boxing? Ryan Garcia never been a champion. Shout out to Ryan Garcia, but Ryan Garcia never been a champion. Making more money than these guys, Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez, right? Ryan Garcia, the less accomplished fighter, was just main eventing in their last fight. Devin Haney was the co-main event, and Teofimo Lopez was playing third fiddle. Where were the hardcore boxing fans' dollars? Where were the hardcore boxing fans' appreciation? Don't blame that on Turkey. Don't blame that on the promoters. The promoters are businessmen. And it seems like the promoters already know that the hardcore boxing fans don't flip the bill. Don't get mad at Gervonta Davis for chasing the money, because he understood that in the sport of boxing, it's not enough to just go for the gusto. It's not lucrative to be the best, to fight the best and be the best. At the end of the day, they prize fighters as well. So the hardcore boxing fans is at fault. The business handlers, you know, in business, you go for your target audience. So they're going for the casuals. Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis make the most money and do the less.
Some fans have accused Gervonta Davis of ducking elite opponents like Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez in order to chase a money fight with Jake Paul. The criticism has been loud across social media, but others argue it's unfair. Davis has already proven himself by dominating multiple weight classes, defeating champions, and maintaining an undefeated record. To claim he's avoiding challenges dismisses the legacy he's already built. His choice to face Paul doesn't erase those accomplishments. It simply reflects how modern boxing operates, where fighters can pursue both legacy-defining matchups and crossover spectacles.
You don't ever fight no Shakur Stevenson, no Keyshawn Davis, no Teofimo Lopez, none of them dudes. You know what I'm talking about? We got to think and look at Tank Davis's whole career. He done made some bread, but at the end of the day, all that bread that he made, when it's all said and done, he ain't gonna get no respect from his peers, because we gonna look down his resume and we gonna be like, he was trash, he was some trash, he was some trash, he was all right, but he was never like that. He was okay. He was some trash, he was some trash, he ain't did nothing. Hey, that's just what it's gonna be at the end of the day. Get mad, a moment of silence, all of the Gervonta Tank Davis meat bushes.
Jake Paul, never shy of bold proclamations, has already set his sights beyond Gervonta Davis, publicly declaring his desire to fight former heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua. The announcement sent shockwaves through boxing circles, drawing equal parts ridicule and disbelief. With Joshua's elite pedigree and massive size advantage, most pundits dismiss Paul's ambition as near impossible. Still, his intent is clear. Paul craves high-profile opponents to fast-track his legitimacy in the sport. Whether driven by competitive hunger, savvy promotional strategy, or the pursuit of legacy, his call-outs ensure his name stays in the headlines. Love him or hate him, the audacity of targeting fighters like Joshua highlights Paul's willingness to gamble big, chase relevance, and polarize fans on a global stage.
Going to go on its leg Goliath, referring to Anthony Joshua.
Yeah. And
he's going to go and fight a 140er and then move up 135er and then move up and fight a heavyweight.
So the lowest he's been, I went through all the fights. For his first two pro fights, he was 175. Now this is all the way back in 2020 against Nate Robinson. Since then, the lowest he's been, as you said, was like the 185 around the Nate Diaz fight, and also for Tommy Fury. I wonder if Jake can get down to that weight anymore. But regardless of Jake's weight, I can't fathom how Tank Davis would be anywhere in the realm of what he would be. Like, it just, he won't even be in earshot of what Jake Paul is going to be.
And for people, like you just mentioned, Nate Robinson, if you're thinking Nate Robinson, oh, he might be around Tank Davis's size. Nah, he was an NBA player. He's 4 inches taller than Tank Davis.
Yeah.
He is not that small. He is around Ryan Garcia's height.
The visual on this is going to be absolutely comical.
Comical, dude. And then on top of all this, Lamont Roach Jr. also jumping on Twitter and saying, told y'all, LOL, duck, duck, duck. That is in reference. This is Gervonta Davis's last opponent in a fight that ended in a draw that many people found to be very controversial.
Showbiz the Adult broke down the timeline of how this fight materialized, stressing that it wasn't some spur-of-the-moment spectacle. According to him, Gervonta, Tank Davis, and Jake Paul had been circling this matchup for years, with quiet negotiations simmering behind the scenes. The bout only became official after the Lamont Roach rematch fell through, but the groundwork had been laid long before. For Paul, this is the fight he's been chasing since his early boxing days, a chance to shed the YouTuber label and finally claim legitimacy. For Davis, despite conceding size, the intrigue lies in showing the world that skill, precision, and experience can dismantle brute force. This isn't just another crossover gimmick. It's a calculated gamble, one designed to leave a lasting mark on both men's careers.
This was always the plan. Tank Davis told you at the press conference, the post-press conference of Lamont. Honestly, here's just a video of all of this being in the works for a while now.
He's gonna call? All right. Yeah, that's how I usually do. Backflip, knockout, backflip, call someone out. Ooh, so it'll be a first time. So more reason to tune in on March 1st.
Yeah, but I just told you that in the air. You said.
Do you want that rematch next? And if so, how likely it is that we're to see that fight happen again this year? Is that the one you want next?
It's definitely the one I want next, but it's not gonna be next.
Oh, well, what is?
You might see it in a minute.
With
and Tank actually being a thing. Was that something that was talked about?
Yeah, no, it was highly talked about and in negotiations and almost ready to make happen, but he has to do his rematch with Lamont and get that W, and then we'll be able to run it back. But me and Gervonta were scheduled to fight for sure.
So, this was always a thing, and which kind of explains why they robbed Lamont Roach. Lamont Roach won that fight, bro. They robbed him of the knockdown. He won that fight. You count the knockdown. Let's just say it's a draw. You count the knockdown, Lamont Roach wins officially. All right, they robbed him of the knockdown. And which makes sense, okay, because this is going to be one hell of a bag. And I want to make this understood. This isn't one hell of a bag because Jake Paul is a hell of a bag type of guy. They both are. It's the matchup. All right, I've seen Jake Paul have fights that didn't do so well, like Mike Perry, it did okay.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned, because the story's only getting bigger. Until next time,